With your game this year, there's so much talk about the shooting, but then the other things you do to make up for all that sort of stuff, there's so much conversation about it. Do you totally disengage from that stuff? Do you hear what people say?
I've been disengaged in that conversation since started playing basketball when I was 8.
Is that hard to do?
Nah, I've been blessed with the talent to not to give a so when I don't, regardless of what happens, doesn't change the way I live, doesn't change what I think. He say, she say, what somebody say about me, what they say about shooting, passing, dribbling. I don't really care. Every year is something. They got to make up something about me, which is fine. It's good. One thing I always know is if they're not talking about you, then you're not doing something right.
All right. Interesting comments there from Russell Westbrook.
This is a PG show, isn't it?
This is a PG show.
I'm just asking.
What do you think of Westbrook's attitude right there?
I tell you what, I thought, he obviously cursed, but I thought that's a great quote. And I thought the way he said it, blessed with a talent, that is something that you're just blessed with. Like, you don't care whatsoever what people think. Now, maybe you can get better at it or maybe acquire it to a certain degree, but actually just not caring, going through life, not caring what anybody says or thinks about you is a blessing. And I do think Westbrook has it. We've seen some of the stars, Kevin Durant, we talk about him being sensitive. He does care so much about what other people say and think. LeBron James, I think, is similar to Durant. I think he cared, maybe not to that level, but remember the Dallas series. Mm-hmm. And then remember after that, he went to 0 dark 30, 23, I think is what he calls it, where during the playoffs, he's off social media. So he doesn't even watch like sports television and stuff like that. So he's not looking at what people are saying or thinking about him. And I think that's what Westbrook has. I think Michael Jordan had it. I think Kobe Bryant had it. I think Allen Iverson had it. Now, there are many positives, of course, and that's what allows you to average a triple-double, which nobody ever thought that could be done in today's NBA. There's a negative side, though, and we've seen it with all these legends. We see it with Westbrook. It can be, when that's your attitude and thought process, it can be harder to learn and to take the positives that people are saying and incorporate it into your life some way. Like with him, it took him a long time to understand time and score. And, I mean, when Kevin Durant was there, he's not giving him the rock a lot at the end of games and not really listening because he just cares about what he thinks. With Jordan, we saw it when he went to Washington and he wasn't leading them to championships. It was trouble in that locker room because of the way he was. With Iverson, he couldn't accept, you saw it in Detroit, being a role player. He could have played 3-4 more years if he was a Paul Pierce or a Vince Carter. And he couldn't accept it.
I just accept Russell Westbrook for who he is. He's a different guy, and that quote really tells you. A lot of guys, you mentioned it, Durant is very sensitive. There's a lot of guys who want to be praised, don't want to hear any negative. So if you can tune it out and just play. I just admire him for he never cheats you, he plays hard every night, and he's trying to win. So after that, I think people will look at him and find something wrong with his game because it's not perfect. And there's a lot of stuff that you could pick at about him, but I don't think you could ever pick at him and say he's not trying or he's not trying to win. And I think that's why he just decides, I don't care what other people say. I'm going to go out and do what I need to do.
Yeah, it's a trait that I think every athlete would love to say they have, but it's just flat out hard to do. And with him being able to do it, it is really impressive. You alluded to some of the guys that you feel like has it. Tom Brady is one of those guys on the football side that has it. But inside the locker room, you hear so much. It's going to either affect the way you perform in a negative way, or it's going to propel the way you perform in a positive way. Meaning, I'm going to take what you say, or I'm going to hear what you say, and I'm going to do everything in my physical power to prove you wrong. With Westbrook, everybody, he shoots, even with Durant, he shoots too much. He needs to defer. He needs to do this. The next year, without Durant or with Durant again, he still did the same thing. He was unwilling to kind of conform to what everybody felt like he should do. And it's kind of been this way his entire career. And until he takes the time to say, you know what? I think I can do some things differently. It's not him conforming because of what everybody's saying. It's now he understands, you know what, I need to do this and play this way for us to win and be effective.
But you can see some of the negatives, like I said to that. I mean, what if he had, and again, you don't want him dialing back his aggressiveness, but what if he had listened a little bit more and said, you know what, KD's the best scorer in basketball. Let me get him to rock a little more late.
Greg, as a player,
Maybe
do you
they
still
win.
remember the worst things said about you or written about you? Do you?
I don't.
Okay.
I don't.
Did you have that,
wondering, yeah.
that mentality?
It wasn't to that extent in that degree. I feel like I had it for the most part, but it is hard to do to sit here and honestly say, yeah, I feel like Charles Barkley, another person.
Right.
That's like, they don't, when some people say, I don't care what people say about me, you're lying. Because you're the ones that are on social media, you're looking at all, you have to clap back. In KD's instance, I don't have a problem with some of those people because I know how hard it is not to clap back.
Rob, how are your mentions?
My mentions are not good. You already know that. It's okay. I'm glad that I'm
some
on.
of that, I think.
I know.
Some of that
I do.
Westbrook.
You know that.
Yeah,
I just kind of let it roll.
And an NBA legend compared Luka Doncic to LeBron James. Is the Luka